Namaste, Pranam, Gita Dhyanam. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Gratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitam Ritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatva manusandadhami Bhagvad Gite bhavatveshinim. O Bhagavad Gita, with which Lord Narayana himself gave enlightenment to Arjuna, the ancient sage Vyasa included it in the Mahabharata. O Goddess, showerer of the nectar-like knowledge of non-dualism contained in your 18 chapters, O my affectionate mother, the destroyer of rebirth, I meditate upon thee. Krishna Vandana. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansa Chanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadguru. Son of Vasudeva, the slayer of Kansa and Chanur, extreme delight for Mother Devaki, O Lord Krishna, the supreme teacher of the universe, my salutations to you. Srimad Bhagavad Gita, the 7th āsthāya, Vidyaan Yoga, and we will be reading today the 20th Shloka of this Vidyaan Yoga, the yoga of knowledge and realization, the ultimate realization. Sri Krishna, in the previous verse that we read, the 19th shloka that we read, among the four types of aspirants, the artha, jidnyasu, artharthi and jnani, Sri Krishna always says that jnani is my most favorite, my most beloved, because to jnani I am the most beloved, and to me he is the most beloved. And then Sri Krishna says in this 19th shloka that it is not easy to get to that stature of being a jnani, to get that position of jnani so easily. One has to slog birth after birth after birth. Bahunam janmanamante jnanavan mam prapadyante. After many more births, after birth after birth after birth, then this Jnanavan, the one who has reached the stage of getting perfection in the ultimate knowledge, finally he gets to that final stage and mam prapadyante. Then he becomes single-mindedly with single-pointed devotion. He becomes devoted to me. Mam prapadyante then. Vasudevaha sarvamiti saha mahatma sudurlabha. And then he gets the realization that this entire creation is filled with one entity, the Supreme God, the Vasudeva. He is filled in everything, the movable, immovable, sentient, insentient, good, bad, holy, unholy. He is the ultimate which has made up of this entire universe. That realization finally dawns. And then this happens after many births. And Sri Krishna also says that it is extremely difficult to find such a rare soul who has attained the perfection. Among thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of beings, one starts seeking liberation. And among those thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of seekers, one gets to the stage of knowing me perfectly. After many births. What a daunting task it must be. But that is what every being is progressing onto. That is the objective of every living being on this earth, not only the human beings. All other living forms, they are heading towards the same birth after birth after birth. And finally a stage comes when he reaches that stage of becoming the Durlabha, Sudurlabha, extremely rare state of finding that great soul who has become one with the Lord. Now what happens to others? Well, Sri Krishna says, okay, one person gets to this stage. What about the others who have started worshipping that Sri Krishna has told us earlier? What happens to those artha? What happens to those jidnyasu? What happens to those artha-arthi who have taken up worshipping God, maybe for selfish reasons? For them, it will take many births to reach the stage of Jnani, who is the most beloved of the Lord, and for whom Lord is the most beloved. So now Sri Krishna is telling us about all those other souls also. In this 20th Shloka, Sri Krishna tells, kāmais tais hṛita-jñānāḥ prapadyante nya-devatāḥ tam niyamam āsthāya prakṛityā niyatāḥ svayā. Sri Krishna says, kāmais tais hṛita-jñānāḥ. With kāmaihi is desire. Kāmaihi is desire. Taihi. Why? This or that desire. Like the Krishna told us, maybe the desire of getting rid of the distress, maybe desire of gaining some gains, material gains. Maybe that immature desire may not be fulfilled. The immature desire, knowing the divinity, knowing the ultimate truth, it is at the lowest level. Fine. So, led by these various desires, taihi kāmaihi hṛita-jñānāḥ, whose wisdom has been rent away. All these souls, they have not perfected themselves. All these seekers, they have not perfected themselves. The artha, the jidnyasu, the artha-arthi, they are worshipping God with some kind of self-interest, with some kind of selfish motive. So, Shri Krishna terms them as hṛita-jñānāḥ, whose wisdom has been rent away, who have gone astray because they don't have that power of discrimination, of knowing what is the, of differentiating what is the reality, ultimate reality, and what is unreal. That sense of differentiation of the real thing, the real existence, and the illusionary, temporary world. Maya, illusion, that sense of differentiation has not developed in them. Now, such people, the hṛita-jñānāḥ, kāmaihi taihi prapadyante nya-devatāḥ. Krishna says that these people of the little discriminative power of knowing the reality and the unreal, with whichever desire they have in their mind, they approach the smaller deities. Even among gods, there are, Sri Krishna says, yes, there are different levels. We find, there are some gods which fulfill our materialistic desires. There are some gods which fulfill our desires for lust and greed also. Yes, there are. So Sri Krishna says, based on their desires, they approach the lower gods. Prapadyante nya-devatāḥ. And tam niyamam āsthāya. Tam is whatever, having this or that. Niyamam āsthāya. Having followed those rites. Like there are some rituals. It is said that you do this, you perform this kind of thing, you perform this sacrifice, you will get this. With that objective in mind, there are different sacrifices, mentioned in the scriptures. The karma kanda. In the karma kanda, you will find this kind of sacrifices and the yajnas and the kind of practices being followed. You do this, like some people, they have this. You do this, and you can walk on water. You can perform miracles. You can get ashtasiddhi. You can read the thoughts of other people. So these are all the mean tendencies for that matter. The real spiritually driven people, they will never go for these. Vashikaran and all, all those nonsense things. I mean, okay, they have their own significance. But these are not the ultimate reality. And the great yogis, they look upon all such kind of rites with a mean, outlook. They are not at all good for the spiritual growth. They are in fact the hindrances towards spiritual growth. So Sri Krishna says, whatever their ways of following, tam niyamam āsthāya prakṛityā niyatāḥ svayā, followed by their lower natures. By their own nature, they are driven to perform these and gain some benefits. Now, these are the type of people who start worshipping the Lord with some selfish interest. Or even those who have some kind of desire, some kind of, I want this. Can I read the thoughts of other people? Can I put other people under my spell, the Vashikaran mantra and all that? So there are people who have such tendencies. Now, these lower cadre worshippers, for that matter, Sri Krishna says, they have their own lower grade of gods also. Nya-devatāḥ, they will approach them. Like there is a hierarchy in everything. Suppose we want something trivial, then we approach people at lower level, isn't it? But if we want something big, we have to approach people at the higher level. And depending on one's desire, depending on one's tendency, Sri Krishna says, people will approach different kind of gods. But the one whose only objective is to know me will come to me directly, surpassing all these minor gods and goddesses and deities. For that aspirant, these minor gods, the minor goddesses, the minor deities, they have no relevance because they want only Vasudeva, the one entity which has filled this entire universe. So this shloka, Sri Krishna says, but those whose discrimination has been laid astray, who are hṛita-jñānāḥ, by this or that desire, go to other gods. Kāmais, tais, prapadyante nya-devatāḥ. Those who have lost the power of differentiating between the ultimate reality and the illusion, they then seek other gods, following this or that rite, constrained by their own nature. Now they are also helpless. Their tendencies are like that. And they will have to take, if supposing someone has to take 10,000 births, a normal person, these people, they may have to take 1,000,000 births till they reach that stage, because all these mean-minded tendencies have to be just destroyed, and they will get destroyed birth after birth after birth after birth. Every birth, when they start realizing there is no truth in this what I have been seeking. And Sri Krishna had told us in Dhyana Yoga that in this process of evolution from birth after birth, they will ultimately they will realize to which level they were in the previous birth. They will gain that knowledge. They will gain that knowledge of the previous birth, and then they will strive for perfection. Then they will start realizing, oh, what a foolish person I was in all those births. I was seeking material gains. I was seeking mental powers. I was seeking this power and that power, which is of no use. Then that realization dawns, and then the person starts striving towards the ultimate perfection. When it is Vasudeva who has become all this is, the question of other gods existing independent of him does not arise. Basically, when Vasudeva is filling the entire thing, how can there be other gods? But Sri Krishna says, Vasudeva is not for these petty kind of desires. These mean-minded desires are not in the role of Vasudeva fulfilling them. Vasudeva can only fulfill the desire of self-realization, the ātma-jñānāḥ, the ultimate illumination, the enlightenment. Vasudeva can give only that. Give me the power of walking on water. No, my dear friend, that is not Vasudeva's domain. Vasudeva is much beyond all these mean-minded tendencies. I want to know what is going on in the minds of people. Oh Lord, give me that power. Vasudeva says, my dear child, you are too immature to ask that thing from Vasudeva. Better to go for some lower kind of God. His limited aspects are out of courtesy called other gods. So Vasudeva has got other gods also within him who can do these things. But even having got those, then the realization comes, this is all futile. With these powers, with these strengths, with these kind of acquisitions, I'm not going to realize him. What is the use? When that realization dawns, then the journey towards perfection starts again. The minor officers of a government are necessarily under its sovereign. Like to smaller things, we go to small people. For bigger things, we go to big people. I want small raise. Maybe I will just talk to HR again, and so somebody give me 100 rupee rise. But if I want a promotion, I have to go to my boss's boss, maybe. Not to any Tom, Dick and Harry. So, depending on one's nature, one starts worshipping these different deities and following those rites prescribed by those deities, by those procedures. To get at the little office holders is easy, and the returns thereof are correspondingly small. Analogous to this, getting the grace of God is difficult. Getting the grace of the Lord, the Vasudeva, is extremely difficult. But it is all conducive to jnana, bhakti and mukti. And when this desire comes up, this desire of mukti, this desire of bhakti, this desire of jnana, this desire of vairagya, when it sets in, then all these lower level gods vanish. Then only thing that remains is devotion to the Vasudeva. People given to worldly desires do not betake to the worship of the ultimate Ishvara. Who have small mean desires. They can never think about the great Lord. The devil of low desire in them makes them mistake little ends for great ones. They think walking on water is the ultimate. Like our ambitions as we grow from the state of our childhood. The typical role models as the child grows. I want to become a bus conductor. Why? Because there is so much of change, tinkling in that bag of the bus conductor. So much money. Then after 3-4 years, that desire, that particular objective, that goal is gone. Then something else, then something else, then something else. Now all these worldly objectives, they keep on changing. I want to be prapadyante, I want to be a senior star, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to be a good teacher. No, I want to be one with the Lord. Who has got that desire? And that desire comes after great many births. And then one starts walking on that path. So, with the lower desires, they choose to propitiate minor deities with suitable rites. Sacrifice 15, 21, chicken to this deity, you will get that. I mean, that kind of all those nonsensical stuff that people keep on trying to gain some powers, to gain some gains, materialistic gains. Their attainments and nature are so low as that. Now such people, their tendencies are so low. They cannot, and that is when Sri Krishna says they have to take so many births, bahunam janmanam ante. Then they will reach a stage of becoming Dnyaan. But still, that this also is a journey for them. This also is a part of journey. Okay, let me go step by step, step by step, step by step. And after many, many, many births, finally, they get into this desire of knowing the all and all, knowing the Vasudeva. What Sri Ramakrishna has to say on this with what Sri Krishna has told about people of lower tendencies, they try to propitiate the lower deities. Sri Ramakrishna says, healing disease, winning litigation, walking on water, trifling psychic powers such as these appeal most to men of base mental make. The lowermost cadre of human beings, they have these kind of desires. Let me win my court case. Oh God, I will do this. Let heal my disease. I will do this. Give me this power of knowing what is happening in the other's mind. Give me this power of bringing people under my spell. All these things, Sri Ramakrishna says, they appeal most to men of base mental make. But the true devotees give no thought to those vulgar things. In Sri Ramakrishna's dictionary, this kind of propitiating the minor deities is vulgarity. He says there is no substance in those desires. Those are all vulgar desires. For the true devotee of the Lord who is one and everything in this universe, why to ask for these petty things? Heal me of my disease. Make me win my court case. Give me this power or that. No, our Lord is much beyond the realm of those trifle things, trifle miracles. They are solely intent on gaining the gracious vision of the Lord, the real jnanis, like Sri Krishna has told. The opportunity which comes after so many births, those jnanis, they want nothing but oneness with the Lord. They are not at all interested in any of these trivial powers, of these vulgar miracles. They are not at all interested. So Sri Krishna says that is what happens with the other type of worshippers who worship God but not with the intention of being one with the Supreme, not being one with the ultimate truth, not realizing that Vasudeva is the only thing that is filling this entire universe. So that is what Sri Krishna has told us about the other type of people who are also worshippers, but not in the league of, not in the top league of the Jnani, which is extremely difficult, Sri Krishna says. It is sudurlabham. It is extremely difficult to get into that state. And that happens after many births, as he has told us in the 19th Shloka. So this was the wonderful 20th Shloka of Sri Krishna explaining to us about the fate of other worshippers of God, other worshippers of other minor deities with other vulgar and mean desires in their mind to gain something. So that is what happens with all kind of worshippers. Everyone has his own or her own kind of a set mark, benchmark, goal to be attained. Accordingly, they start worshipping. This is what happens in case of the people with the lower tendencies. This is what happens with the people who are hṛita-jñānāḥ, whose power of discrimination has gone astray. They don't know what is real and what is unreal. So that was the 20th Shloka of the Dnyāna Vidyāna Yoga, and Sri Krishna is enlightening us of getting to that stage of knowing Krishna fully, in totality, in the wholesomeness. So that was our reading of the 20th Shloka, Dnyāna Vidyāna Yoga of the day for today. Till then, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Sri Ramakrishna. Jai Thakur. Jai Ma. Jai Swami Ji.